Alrighty, good morning everyone. I'm Meteorologist Kaj O'Mara coming to you here on this Wednesday morning for this quick weather update as to what to expect for tomorrow's snowfall here across eastern Iowa, including the timing and the amounts that we expect in terms of impacts with that, as well as what the winds may be doing in our area for tomorrow. So we first begin with what is newly issued during the overnight hours and into the early morning hours here of tomorrow. So these are with the winter weather alerts that have been issued. It's a winter storm warning that runs from Dubuque through about Anamosa, Monticello areas, through Cedar Rapids, Iowa City. Tipton is also involved, and then farther down to the south and west from there, that winter storm warning does continue. This goes into effect late tonight and into tomorrow morning. Farther back towards the north and west, you'll notice that it's buffered out by one county there in a winter storm watch. That's in Clayton County. And then there's some advisory counties there too, from Manchester to Independence back through Waterloo to Tama to Marshalltown. There's also winter weather advisory farther down to the south and east. The way this is looking, the heaviest snow is likely to fall in the warning area. Wouldn't surprise me at all if the farther northwest you go after that point, especially from Waterloo, Independence, and points northwest, you're going to wind up seeing much less snow in this particular setup, at least the way things are looking here today. Let's take a look now at Pinpoint Futurecast. And what Pinpoint Futurecast is going to illustrate for you is that things are very quiet here this evening. So we don't expect anything in the area today or during the evening hours. Early on tomorrow morning, heavy snowfall is likely during the morning drive. It does appear like this will be a Highway 20 and south weather event for the most part. There could be a few snow showers north of there, but for the most part, early tomorrow, it's generally from Highway 20 down to the south. We've highlighted that area there of darker blue that lines up from Dubuque to Cedar Rapids south through Iowa City and Oskaloosa. That's also pretty much where the winter storm warning has been issued as well. And this is for heavy snowfall rates during your morning drive. Pay careful attention in the timing here. This is early on tomorrow morning, Thursday, 6 a.m. So something for us to watch for going into the morning hours. Those heavy snowfall rates may continue for a few hours, and then it starts to taper back a little bit towards lunchtime and then a lot by mid to late afternoon. In terms of snowfall amounts, for whatever reason this morning, these snowfall ranges have been causing tremendous angst online, and we're trying to figure out why that's the case. But the way things are going right now, the 3 to 6 inches that we issued yesterday still continues to look like a pretty reasonable forecast. One thing we're probably going to see, I would see it easily probably in here being on the lower end of that and farther up towards the north and west based on the storm track that we're watching. However, confidence is pretty high that Cedar Rapids and Iowa City will likely wind up in that range. Farther back to the north and west towards Waterloo, Cedar Falls, generally looking at probably an inch or two there tops, the way this system is tracking. So again, don't be surprised if north and west you don't wind up with as much snowfall, whereas farther down to the south you wind up getting about 3 to 6 inches. One of the key differences on this particular system, there's actually two differences that we'll watch here. The first one is the consistency of the snow. The snow consistency this time is going to be much, much lighter weight. We don't expect a huge layer of ice underneath it. We don't expect a lot of slush underneath it either. Today's cooler temps actually helps tremendously in that regard too. But we expect most of the snow tomorrow to fall with temperatures into the 20s. And so what that means, it's a lighter, fluffier consistency of snow. It's easier for us to move around. It's easier for your snowblower to handle as well. But when it comes right down to it, it's also easier to be wind blown. And that is one thing that we are fielding some questions on this morning about that. So let me get back to the snowfall forecast here and eventually go back over towards our wind gust forecast for tomorrow. We do expect some gusts upwards of say 20 to 25 miles an hour or so. And while in town, that's probably not too big of a problem. Outside of town, we could see some patches there where we deal with some blowing and drifting of the new snowfall. Again, because one of those key differences is the fact that this is a much more powdery snowfall as opposed to what we had back on last Thursday, which was basically glorified concrete falling. And then if you let it freeze overnight, it was tough to move again. So this winds up being a very powdery snow. And so with winds of 25 miles an hour or so, that doesn't typically lead to widespread blowing snow, but it can lead to patchy blowing snow across the TV9 viewing area. One more time, we'll go through here. We've been at this for about 5 minutes or so. I've not seen any additional questions come into our chat right now or any of the comments. So we'll go over another summary here as to what we're seeing. The winter weather alerts that are in effect for tomorrow. It's a winter storm warning that lines up from Dubuque through about Monticello, Anamosa, through Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, those pink shaded counties. Either side of that, you wind up with the winter weather advisory. And so this is the key takeaway on this. The heaviest snow is going to fall in the warning area. we're going to see likely less snow on either side of the warning area. But regardless of what product you are in, whether it's an advisory, a warning, or a watch, slick roads are likely there during the morning commute. The timing of everything for tomorrow is generally in the early to mid-morning for the heaviest snowfall rates. Even later in the morning could still feature some of that. And this is a system that, from a track perspective, looks very similar to last Thursday, where we wind up getting some pretty heavy snowfall rates during the morning drive. That's something for us to at least bear in mind tomorrow. I would foresee this to have impacts to your school and work day, so be prepared to adjust as needed going into your Thursday. But that is really the real teeth of the system. I'd say between 6 a.m. and noon is when we're probably going to get 70–80% of our snowfall accumulation. During the afternoon, the system pulls away to the east. North winds pick up 20 to 25 miles an hour, could cause some patchy blowing or drifting snow in the area. Again, the timing, very highly confident on that. The impacts, fairly highly confident on as well. When it comes to the snowfall forecast itself, for whatever reason, the comments online have been all over the place regarding this. We're going to stick with a 3 to 6 inch band of snow here. Roads will quickly get slick. We want to watch for blowing and drifting in rural areas. And we're really on the conservative side with this system, and there's a number of reasons for that as well. Given how dry the air is today, that's the first one, but then also there's a considerable severe weather risk out in the Ohio Valley tomorrow. So the big moisture plume on this system is definitely steering its way off to the east. So for us, yes, we're going to get some snow out of the deal, but I'm having a hard time seeing some of these really high-end totals appearing in our area. We never say never in this business because weather has a great way of either humbling you or surprising you in one way or the other. But it seems like going on the conservative range of 3 to 6 is probably going to work out fairly well. The biggest area of uncertainty is going to be right in here because just like last week, remember last week, Dubuque got 9 inches of snow and it barely did anything in Guttenberg. You're talking less than an hour's drive north and west, and it was a totally different climate zone for a while there. That's probably the emphasis of highest uncertainty, is right around there, the Highway 20 corridor. But you can kind of see the general gist of the map here. The farther northwest you go, the less you're going to see. The farther southeast you go, the more you're going to see. And it looks like this will be a case of just all snow. We don't expect any icing or real heavy slush like we had out there last week. So with seeing no questions on this, for the most part, any concerns that do crop up, obviously let us know. You can reach out to us via Facebook. You can reach out right during the comments section here as well. But in general, that's why we're doing what we're doing. With systems like this, traditionally, it's tough for them to get over 6 inches, and so that's why we're generally capping it in that 3 to 6 inch range. If we do exceed 6 inches, there's a really good chance it's probably just going to be in a few isolated spots. I would think southwest Iowa, maybe central Iowa might have a better chance to do that as opposed to us here in eastern Iowa. So that's our justification for doing what we're doing. We also tend to like to blend all the information together and give a good average as opposed to really sticking our neck out there on some of those high-end outliers, which very rarely verify. So we're generally going to stick with 3 to 6. Again, you'll probably have some impacts tomorrow, especially during the morning commute, so something to be mindful of as we look ahead here to tomorrow morning's drive. Again, we'll continue to keep you updated of anything that shifts with the track of the system or the snowfall totals going forward. Thanks so much for joining us. Here's one last look at that snowfall map here for your Thursday. We appreciate you staying with us here for today. And again, stay tuned as the system continues to evolve.